Well, welcome everyone to On the Offense, our bi-monthly podcast series on all things marketing and communications. Before we get into the meat of things, I just want to ask a very important question. Jeff, do you like my summer shirt?
I do very much. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Are you an influencer?
Uh, I'm an influencer of myself, and that's probably
Okay. Okay.
of one. I was influenced via a Facebook ad, I want to say, to buy this shirt. I clicked. The shirt showed up a few days later, and Jean, my wife, looked at me and said, "That's a gorgeous shirt, but you really can only wear it in the summer." And so Jocelyn, and I said, "All right, how about if I wear it for the next podcast?" And so, because this just happened in the last few days, so here's my summer shirt.
Wow. Well, technically, is this your last summer podcast with Labor Day coming up?
Well, not technically, but I think in people's minds, to me, the end of summer is Labor Day.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And it's like the white pants debate, right? It's
the
like
whole
your blue shirt
white-
equivalent to a white pant, right?
That is a real big debate right now. I think people have kind of moved away from that idea that white pants can't be
They
worn.
have, yeah. A little more traditional.
They
I wear
have.
it whenever I want.
Exactly.
California. Hey, you live in California.
Yeah. It depends on New Year and/or traditional you are,
True.
but as far as I'm concerned, is good all year round.
Yeah.
The other comment I'll make before we get into this is, Jeff, what is the most important number for this podcast and for this day? The number is 8. Do you know why? And that's not because August is the 8th month. The number 8.
Gosh, number 8.
The reason number 8 is the number of the day is because as of today, there are only 8 days left.
Oh.
Football. 8 days, Jeff.
Wow. Wow. I wasn't going to guess that.
Right?
I was going to go back to my childhood. That was Willie Stargell's number.
Willie Stargell.
When I was growing up.
Absolutely. So, question for you, since this is our last podcast before college football, who is, and I'm putting you on the spot, but this is an easy one for you because of your alma mater and your ranking. Who is your call for the national championship winner for this season?
Well, it's definitely Southern Cal. No.
Sneaky.
We are Penn State. We are Penn State. It's our time. We've got a fantastic roster of folks.
You do.
It's our time to shine.
I think it might be. This might be the Nittany Lions year. If you go by the polls, it will not be SC's year. We're not even in the top 25.
I saw.
Very rare for us.
How
Not
sad.
So
Religious.
we're going to have to sneak up on folks for sure. I have no idea who's going to win the national championship. We'll see.
I'm going to say Georgia.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Maybe Clemson. Clemson, everyone's kind of forgotten about Clemson for the past few years, but they're in the top 5. I think something may be going on there. So I'm going to go with Clemson. So our last podcast leveraged and this is the word that you guys put in our newsletter.
Virality.
I actually looked it up. The degree to which something goes viral.
Mm-hmm.
You leveraged that quality of what is now and forever will be known as Coldplay Gate as the foundation for what I thought was a really fulsome discussion on social media. We talked a lot about the differences among the many social platforms out there. We also talked a lot about really the critical need to first understand what your social strategy even is. Is it focus more on engagement? Is it focus more on acquisition before formulating your content, not to mention where to put it, right? Where to place it. Talked a lot. I thought that was a good discussion. And now I'm going to start to bridge into today. At one point in the discussion, the topic of influencers came up and we stopped ourselves and said, you know what? We should do an entirely separate podcast just on the topic of influencers. And today we are fulfilling that promise with a podcast that will be about all things influencers. as essentially kind of sort of as a part two, if you will, to that social media podcast. So it is an understatement to suggest that I am excited about not only this topic, but more so because of who our guests are. And so we are going to ask them to introduce themselves. But I suppose, in the interest of full transparency, I should point out that these two guests have something very important in common. Not only are they sisters, hopefully you can see some of the there, but they are also my daughters. Yeah. Like I said in the blooper that may or may not be on this, yay for me. So Caroline, who normally is our producer for these podcasts, we call her Gelman, but today you're going to be Caroline. So, by the way, I should point out that both of these guests are legitimate experts when it comes to the topic of influencers. So I think this is going to be a great discussion. Really looking forward to it. Influencers are a fascinating and important topic within marketing and communications. And these two folks, Jeff and I know a little bit about it here and there, but these two folks know a lot about it. So Caroline, why don't we start with you?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Caroline. In my day job, I work as a virtual tasting event coordinator, wearing a million hats for a couple wineries. But in my off time, I am chronically online. So I have made content, I consume content, I have ADHD, so I constantly have some kind of input coming at me, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, TV shows, it doesn't matter, you name it. I am a consumer of it. So I'm a Pisces, and I'm really excited to be here. Oh, no wonder
We
we get
love
along.
that.
No wonder we get along.
No clue
Water signs.
what anyone's talking
That's
about.
me.
I know I'm a Pisces. That's all I know. All right. So Jocelyn Elmore, it says your name in the bottom, but tell us about yourself.
Yes. So I am the younger sister. I have about 6 years, 5, 6 years experience working in the public relations agency world, as I know Jeff and John both understand very well. I have been working at 2 different agencies, so have different experience across national PR, hyperlocal PR, trade PR, many industries. Fitness, wellness, telecom, food and beverage is something that I've really found a niche in recently. But traditional PR is my name of the game. So earned media relations is my bread and butter. I'm a senior media relations manager right now and senior account executive at McKeeman Communications, a boutique PR firm here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I live. And I think the conversation around influencers is very interesting to me right now. Because really in the industry of earned media, we are seeing such a shift of blurring the lines between earned media and what we know that to be and influencers. A lot of these journalists, reporters are actually becoming influencers in and of themselves. And so within the agency world, we're having really fascinating conversations with our clients where we're coaching them of, hey, that broadcast segment is great, but what we really want them to do is post it online and then post it on their social media, because these reporters have actually sometimes more followers on social media than they do viewership from a broadcast standpoint. So it's really interesting and something that we talk about every single day in the agency world. But similar to Caroline, I'm also chronically online, and I also have been starting to do some of my own content creation here in Raleigh. So really focusing on working with a lot of the local businesses, the new restaurants coming to town, and showcasing them through my own platform. So it's a very topical topic that I am excited to speak on today.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say to any of that. These are young, smart, accomplished women, Jeff. We are out of our league on this podcast.
Clearly.
We should just hang up and let them run with it without us. So,
Caroline and I could easily have a 4-hour podcast.
Oh,
So
So easily.
so I looked up, I had some fun in preparing for this podcast. I looked up, and I'm not going to be telling you guys anything you probably don't already know, but I looked up just for fun. Who is the biggest influencer on at least on Instagram? Okay. That just happened to be the thing that was easiest.
That's a crazy question.
And oh yeah, go ahead. No, go
well,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, maybe you weren't finished asking the question, but it's interesting the way that you phrased it. Who is the biggest influencer? Because are you just talking about followers?
Yes.
That
And
was my
Because
question.
that to me is a completely different question than the biggest influencer, right? Which is like part of this whole conversation is like, what really makes an influencer? Is it follower count, or is it really the engagement and the community
The
that's
influence. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, biggest influencers, at least this article measured that by followers, but I have the same question. Is that really what makes you the biggest influencer, right?
Can you take a guess?
Answer by, oh yeah, take a guess. Who has the most followers on Instagram? We'll put it that way.
I know it was Selena Gomez.
That's what I was going to say. It was Selena
Yeah.
Gomez at one point. She used to have the most followers, but I don't know if that's the case
On
anymore.
Instagram specifically is a really important
Instagram.
point.
Big,
Is it not still?
biggest influencers on Instagram, at least in terms of numbers of followers, tend to be celebrities, athletes,
Yes.
etc., who were
Can
all,
you
and then they just went on Insta, right?
Yeah.
can you tell us how many followers it is?
I just know that it's more than a billion.
More than a billion, for God's sakes.
Billion with a B.
Taylor?
Nope. Former
Okay, my guess is Selena.
Former
Current-
athlete?
current athlete.
Current athlete.
What?
Current athlete.
I think he's
A
still.
Billy? Oh,
Is it like Cristiano Ronaldo or something?
that's what I was gonna say. Is it's a soccer?
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, more than a billion. And that's, okay. Apparently that's across all social channels, not just Instagram, but
Okay.
more than a billion. And then, so you have people like that who are out there, but there's also influencers who, unlike celebrities and athletes, first made their name on social. They weren't already famous by virtue of having done something else. Okay. All right. You ready for that? Now, maybe this is Instagram only. But who has the most followers? I think it's just Instagram of an influencer among the influencers who was not already famous for another.
It's got
That could be Charlie.
Well, I don't know, because I feel like there are some influencers that you and I might not be their target audience, but it might be like
Is it Mr. Beast?
it might be Mr. Beast.
Yeah, or like the Paul brothers or something.
Mr. Beast, which is a hilarious name, by the way. In fact, I think, Jeff, that might be your new nickname, Mr.
I love
Beast.
it. I love Mr. Beast. You know, in fact, they called me that when I was in high school, Mr. Beast.
Ah,
That's
perfect.
to you. All right. So Mr. Beast is up there. I'm not sure I can say that with a straight face. He's up there high on the list, but this person is not Mr. Beast. It's not Ms. Beast or Mrs. Beast. It's a person in beauty and fashion.
Beauty and fashion. I'm like, who?
Not like Martha
Whoa.
Stewart or like a Kardashian.
I mean,
No,
bigger than Mr. Beast.
for any other reason than by being an influencer.
How many followers does this person have?
37.8 million, which is a lot, but it ain't a billion. So it is a woman.
I don't know. You're going to need to tell us. I
think you're going to need to tell us.
Yeah, we're lost.
Addison Rae.
Oh, see, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's when
Mm-hmm.
TikTok became what it is, there were two creators that really were like the breakout, like everyone knew them. one of which is Charlie D'Amelio, who has gone on to create her own entire, her and her family have created their whole own enterprise. And then there was Addison Rae, who has gone on to be an incredibly successful musician. So
Yeah.
Musician?
And a million
Yeah.
other things, a million other things. So, I mean, that makes total sense. She's one of the biggest names in the world right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, 40, almost 40
I
million.
can't believe that. Addison, I mean, that does make sense.
Addison Rae.
How many does Mr. Beast have?
I don't know. I'm afraid to ask you.
No idea. And
Yeah.
you know
Oh my
what's so
God,
crazy
Addison.
is I think Addison is younger than me. Is that
I
true?
think she is.
Yeah.
I think she is by 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
So yeah,
Let's see.
like think about that,
That's crazy.
John.
Level of
Like,
knowledge is just
Think
blowing
about that.
my
Yeah.
mind.
So she was born in October 2000. So she's
You're
24
you're
and
younger.
she's the biggest name
That's crazy.
on Instagram that wasn't famous prior. So this all happened. She started TikTok in 2020. So no, she was on Musical.ly. She
Like
started in
2019,
2019.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. They talk about these people, Jeff, like we talk about Willie Stargell.
That's right. That's right.
I want
Sitting on the hill with Will.
maybe they should have influencer trading cards, like baseball
Not
players.
a bad idea, I guess.
Right.
That's about being famous for being famous.
That's right. So, all right. So let's take a step back. What is an influencer?
Ooh.
I mean, I suppose maybe what isn't an influencer? What is an influencer, Caroline? You
Yeah.
were saying the other day that the answer is perhaps more broad than some might think. What,
Yeah.
in general, what is an influencer?
To me, an influencer doesn't, I think the definition in my head is different between what my definition is and what I think probably everybody else's definition is. An influencer, I think broadly is more of an umbrella term for content creator. Somebody who puts their life online, somebody who posts a lot online. Maybe they would be called an influencer, maybe in traditional media. But I think that's changing now as content creator tends to be the more acceptable term. But to me, an influencer is really much more boiled down to be somebody who has a lot of influence, period, end of story, whether or not they have millions and millions of followers. Now, obviously, if you have those millions of followers, any kind of preference from you kind of creates an influence, right, from your followers. So they do tend to be hand in hand with the followers. However, there can be content creators that are much smaller on the follower count that can also have a higher what is it called, almost like a rate of exchange. So they might have less followers, but the people, the ratio in which they interact with you and buy the things that you buy and interact with your preferences might be a whole lot more than somebody with, let's say, 1 million followers. So it kind of depends on who that content creator is, the type of content they make. Do they make it consistently? How often are they interacting with their audience? Do they do live streams? Are they interacting real time? So it's quite convoluted, but I'd say you don't have to have followers to be an influencer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to add on to that, I think content creator, like I think Carolyn, are you saying too, like content creator to you is that umbrella? And then underneath that, which is like somewhat of a newer term in the last couple of years, and then underneath that, what has happened is you've got the category of influencers, and then you've got actually multiple different kinds of content creators where content creator could be somebody like kind of what I'm doing out in my neighborhood is going out and showing the businesses, trying to influence people to go try that new restaurant or, buy this new product or whatever it is. But in addition to that, now we're seeing like, especially in like PR and marketing agency world, like we work with a lot of content creators for UGC in particular for our clients. So that's that user generated content. So some people are actually making an entire career and replacing their salary, their 9 to 5 salary job with UGC content creation. So they themselves are not like their person is not actually in any of the videos, in any of the content that they're making. It is literally just focusing on, I don't know why I have a shoe on my desk, but they're making videos and content of the shoe. And then they're able to sell the usage rights of that content back to the brand. And the brand is able to use that content for their advertising and marketing. And so, and obviously, when you think about a styled shoot for an advertising campaign, that's going to have a completely different impact on a consumer than it would, kind of showing it in a in somebody's life and showing it in more an authentic way. How to use this product in your day-to-day life, how to make, style these shoes with everyday outfits. So it's really like this whole area of UGC has come about in the last 5 years, or probably longer than that, but just in terms of how brands are really like leveraging that has kind of exploded. And so I think that's also another consideration that you have when you're trying to define what an influencer is.
Hmm.
Yeah, if I'm taking notes.
I'm taking notes in my head.
I'm taking notes. UGC. I'm sorry.
UGC.
User generated content.
I missed
Yes.
Mr. Beast. I'm taking notes.
Okay.
I saw something when I was doing my research, not probably as extensive as John's, but I saw an influencer who was asked, how much did you make last year from your work as an influencer? This woman made $4 million by doing nothing but looking stylish and interacting
That's
with
not
the different
even
brands who were selling her, who were giving her clothes. That's incredible.
that's not even the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
That's not even the tip of the iceberg. I'm just maybe continuing off of you, Joss. Under the same umbrella of content creators, then you have people that are just plain showing their life.
Yeah.
So they're just showing their day. They're setting up their camera first thing in the morning. They're filming themselves getting out of bed, getting ready, making their breakfast in the morning. The person who comes to mind is Alex Earl. She is arguably one of the most successful versions of this. And essentially she started in college. She was just filming her, going out, going out makeup, how to get ready to go out. So almost like appealing to like probably women 18 to 25 roughly, that were all in college around the same time as her, have now followed her through college, out of college. She's now dating a famous NFL player. Carl's Jr. just did a huge campaign with her where she does the like iconic burger bite view, right? And she, I mean, just off that one campaign, probably made, I don't have that stat, so please take it with a grain of salt, but she probably made 10 million just off that one campaign.
Wow.
So these people are really pulling their weight. There is a huge industry here, especially, and now think of it from a brand perspective, going back to UGC, you can get that type of content, the content that's going to work for your brand because it's coming from an authentic viewpoint, but you don't have to sign off on who that person is who made the content. You're not, because it doesn't include their face. It's usually their hands holding the product or whatever, or just the product itself. So it's a win-win for both content creator and companies. If you think about it, that's why almost they're willing to pay for it, because they just get to cut out all the middlemen. So
that's crazy.
I think like I said, we could go on about this for hours.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's such a fascinating area.
You wonder why we decided on the spot correctly, I might add, that we should do a separate podcast on influencers. So let's talk cash. Let's talk Let's talk cash.
Okay.
Jeff said, "Oh my God, 4 million." You're saying, 10 million, Carl's Jr. I mean, I actually have a list of questions in front of me. One of them was, well, how much can an influencer make? Sounds like 4 million is the tip of the iceberg, but like, how does this happen? Like you say, Jeff, well, all the person's doing is looking stylish, but obviously they somehow built up enough credibility, followers, etc., to the point where I suppose companies are sending that person those things to wear. How do you go from unknown completely to the point where people are sending you stuff and paying you? Is it just literally one step at a time?
Yeah, it snowballs. Like I think so obviously, like, there are many categories of whatever you want to call them. We'll say content creators because it is all encompassing of all of those different kinds that we were talking about. You have nano influencers who probably have less than 10,000 followers. You have micro influencers that probably have 10 to 100,000 followers. You have macro, and then you have mega influencers, which are usually over 1 million, 2 million followers. So brands are really interestingly less interested these days in working all of the time with the mega, the macro influencers. I mean, yes, do they want to? Absolutely. But there's actually becoming kind of an issue with how much these larger influencers, content creators are charging versus the ROI for the brand. So a lot of brands are actually starting to target more of these nano micro influencers and content creators and just reaching out and saying, "Hey, can we send you some product?" And they will have the opportunity. And these smaller creators are looking to build their following, and so they're going to accept opportunities for trade. We call it trade partnerships versus a paid partnership. And so these brands are actually getting much more authentic content to their target audience, that they're really trying to get in front of with these smaller creators. So it starts with that, where brands will start to offer product, and it will usually start with trade. And then once a content creator gets to a certain threshold, they can probably really start pushing back and asking for paid opportunities. And then also, interestingly, kind of, aside from that, there's also this whole category of affiliate marketing as well. So not necessarily
That's the whole thing.
or paid, but there's kind of this gray area where essentially you'll either have a code or a unique link or something like that, where you didn't get paid to do this, but if you post about this jacket that I'm wearing and I have an affiliate link, my followers will click that link or use that code, and I get a commission of how much the brand makes off of my unique link or code. So there's a lot of different ways for content creators to be making money in the space, but it's really accessible, and you don't have to have that many followers to start doing it, which is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually speak to that. I was doing social media quite seriously a few years ago, and it was the exact same thing that happened to me. And Jeff, to your point, it was kind of accidental. It was a bit like, you know what? I'm going to start doing this because this is fun for me. And I love, sharing my creativity and trying to be a bit more authentically me. And then people started following along and asking me about where'd you get this? And it speaks to and I'm sure we're going to get to it, a whole conversation about authenticity and how that ties into your ability to influence people.
Yeah.
Right. But just speaking to this point, brands just started. Well, first of all, I have my email address in my bio on all of my platforms. So brands who come across my content, whether it's their social media manager who's like their job is to scroll through and look for people with email addresses that are maybe creating traction or have a sound or one video go super viral or something like that. That's how a lot of brands tend to find you. And also think about it too. Some of these brands have, well, teams doing it, and also AI just kind of like searching for people who might be trending or have videos trending and have those emails sent out. So you do nowadays have to be quite vigilant with your inbox to make sure an opportunity that's coming in isn't a false opportunity or whatever. But it does, at least with me, it started with trade. So it was, hey, we'll send you this if you wouldn't mind posting this, this, and this. You can do either. I had people reach out just with no strings attached. We just want to see if you like it, enjoy it. And then from there, what I've been instructed to do, or what I see other people do, is once they get to that point where they're starting to get so many that it's like, okay, I don't know how to respond to everyone and keep every route different. So you create what's called a rate card, or something that you can, almost like a model does with their comp card. So you create kind of a, here are my most viral videos, here's how many followers I have, and then your engagement rate. And this is the point that I think, and Jocelyn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that I've gotten the most feedback on is when your engagement rate is high, that means the ratio of your, however many followers you have, the ratio of people who are interacting and almost like conversing with you through the internet, right? Commenting, liking, resharing, following, they're interacting with you frequently. When that engagement rate is high, that tells the brand that this person is someone who will get results. People will watch and they'll buy and they'll interact. So that's why you can have influencers like me who had about 40K, right? Be getting these opportunities because I had a high engagement rate. So,
which is where Caroline was probably more valuable to a lot of brands than an Addison Rae, because once you get so big, that engagement rate, you can't keep up with that same level of community. And there's kind of a sweet spot, right, between maybe the macro, micro level of content creators, where brands are able to see that high engagement rate where, you know, guys, similar to like when I'm reporting on earned media hits, sometimes it's not how many viewers they had, you know, the estimated audience reach. It's sometimes the, you know, who actually was the audience, like how valuable is this from an action standpoint. So they don't want to just see how many views your post got. They want to see how many comments, how many saves, how many shares, how many people put it on their story, how many people actually went through your link in bio and pressed buy on a product. So it's showing that that person actually has a community, that people care about and trust this person, versus again, those larger mega influencers sometimes will then shift into this space where it's almost like a parasocial relationship, where they are a face, they are a brand, they post, but they don't necessarily interact back with their audience and with that community. So there's this weird like sweet spot in all of, like, bigger is not always better.
Right.
Wow.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you become a mega brand, and oh, this person's associated with everything. But you're a little, what did you do, micro influencers or nano influencers? Oh, this person's very specialized. And this is brand new. This must be a really great idea. So I get that. I get that.
So what, I mean, boy, this is fascinating. What makes a good influencer? Is it back to your comment about authenticity, Caroline?
I think,
I mean,
I mean, Kara, I think
go
it's
for it.
authenticity that you talked about, and I think it's the community that I'm
Regardless
talking
of number of followers.
Yeah, I think it's those two things to me. Like it's that authenticity, and then from there that creates the community that's happening. And within a community, like even if you think about your neighborhood, you know, Facebook group, that's a community that there's a level of trust within that. And I think trust is the underlying just issue of today's day and age, like whether you're thinking about traditional media or you're thinking about new media, like there is a inherent lack of trust. And so people are looking for those smaller communities that relate to them and that they can really, and so in order to do that, you need to see that somebody is being authentic. And so, like, it's just interesting with influencers. I think influencers have been around at this point and have been, coined term for however many years. I think there is kind of this consumer fatigue happening with influencers where if you get too big, if you feel like you lose that authenticity, people lose trust in you. And it's really, people are questioning a lot of what's going on in the influencer space in terms of, what's ethical. It's really fascinating. Really, really fascinating.
I think something you guys have even talked about on the podcast before is, or maybe that we've discussed behind the scenes, is like people care about, oh, Coldplay Gate, perfect example. People care about who the people behind the name is, the CEO. We care about who you are as a person. It's not about, or that's the shift that we're seeing in consumers these days is we want to know who you are. We want to know what your values are. And does that relate to me as the consumer? Because if it doesn't, I'm not going to watch you. There's a million other people out there that do look at me and do the things I do and buy the things I do. And so those are the people I'm going to dive into, right? For me, it's authenticity is really interesting because you have to Jeff's point, it feels like from an outsider, it feels like these people are just putting on cute clothes and posting a video of it and then building 1 million followers. The difference is you have the behind the scenes work of putting content out on every platform consistently, where it's quality content, where it's high quality, meaning like just the visuals itself, the quality of the file of the content, how crisp is your audio quality. All of these things go into it. It takes a lot of time. These are people working really hard to not only build that audience, but support it, create a community. So like I spoke about earlier, these people aren't just clocking in for a 9 to 5. They might be clocking into a real 9 to 5 at the same time, coming home, and then they're on live stream all night long, trying to get to know the people on the other side of the camera. And then those are the people that tend to see that exponential rise. But it's interesting that we see it like, what exactly is going on here? Like, what amount of effort is going in? The perfect person that comes to my mind, Jocelyn, is Brittany Broski.
Love her.
Completely accidental. She posted this hilarious video of her trying kombucha this one time, and it tasted like just horrible in her mind, or maybe not. And she went back and forth, and it blew up overnight. She was an instant internet celebrity. And since then, probably 2020 or so, she has grown. And this is just her posting absolutely nonsense, like just like silly. She's a comedian. She can sing. She's an actress. All of it goes into it. But she was able to make a full-time community and position out of it, if you will. She has podcast shows. She's working with celebrities. She does red carpet interviews. She's doing all of these things that are to her brand, but that required all of that groundwork with her followers, building that authenticity to even show that this is somebody we want to support in the first place. So it is incremental. And it does take a while in some cases, but then comes back to virality, the tricky algorithm, right? At any moment, your video could be the one that was picked up and it was sent off. And now you have an opportunity. Do I keep it up? Do I keep posting? Do I put in that work and put in that authenticity to make something of it? Or is it your 15 minutes? It's kind of,
yeah.
I wonder if the person who first posted the Coldplay thing too. I believe TikTok. I wonder if they've done anything about that, or that was it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have. Just the first thing that comes to my mind is during Taylor Swift's Eras tour, there would be content creators that built a live stream so that people could watch her concert through her live stream. So now every time there's a Taylor concert, I go back to the same influencer who has
Oh, wow.
50,000 people sitting there watching, sending her gifts, sending her money to keep her doing this. So now she's an influencer just by creating a place for people to watch things.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating how quickly this could happen, but also how much work it takes to sustain it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you have to be the right person, again, to Jocelyn's point, morally, ethically, all of the things for your audience. So
Utterly fascinating. So I think it was Jocelyn. I think it was you who I'm interested if you're in a marketing team or a communications team for a company, and it doesn't matter if it's a B2C, B2B, what industry, whatever and your boss comes to you and says, we need an influencer strategy. Find us a group of influencers that we can consider aligning ourselves to.
Mm-hmm.
That person, you're a social media manager, and Jocelyn, you referenced it. Maybe it's just searching for them, but how does that happen? Like, how do you find? I don't know. Let's say you're a local restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You are a local restaurant in Raleigh, North Carolina, and let's say you're the best coffee house, brand new coffee house in Raleigh, right? How does the social media manager for that brand new coffee house go out and find an influencer to align the new coffee house with?
Well, it's very interesting you say that because part of the benefits of working with a small agency, if you will, is that we do this every day and that there is a group of content creators within any size city that we actually have similar to media relationships and a media list that you have. We have an influencer list and we have them segmented by their niche. So, okay, we have a new food and beverage client coming on. They're going to be the new top coffee house opening in Raleigh. Okay, we're going to look at our food and beverage influencers here. Benefit of working with us is that we've done many campaigns with these influencers previously. So we have relationships with them, with their managers, with whatever. So that is a benefit of working with an agency, first and foremost. And second, I think would be what I mentioned is their niche. So every content creator has a niche, whether it's obvious or not. I think that's a really big piece of how brands decide to work with who. Some people are the fashion, style, beauty influencers that you might think of when you hear the word influencer. But there are lifestyle content creators just showing their everyday life. There are mommy bloggers that build really trusted communities, actually. Very, very valuable segment for brands to tap into. There are food and beverage. There are foodie, like almost critics at this point. That's kind of the new food critic is a foodie influencer that can make your restaurant explode overnight. So it's just, it really starts there with, we already have an existing list. It's not like we're starting from ground zero. And then we'll kind of go through and decide who we're gonna, target based on their segment and their niche based on, our client. And then really from there, we look at that engagement rate. Like we don't want to see number of followers. We want to see a high engagement rate because if we're going to recommend a partnership with this content creator for our client, we want to make sure that it's not just vanity metrics that we're looking at. There's actual ROI involved. And so, with grand openings, especially, we really do a lot of one-off partnership posts talking about the grand opening, promoting that, but then we will oftentimes recommend a more long-term partnership. So oftentimes with content creators, and how they work with different marketing agencies is they will do a one-off opportunity or a long-term opportunity where there's kind of an expectation that you're going to post about this new coffee house once or twice a month, and kind of what that means and whether it's paid or it's just a trade. It just kind of depends on the client's budget and which types of influencers. If they want to stay in more of that nano space, which you can usually get away with trade, or if you're going to go into that micro macro space, which you usually will have to pay them. And even, in smaller, small to medium sized markets like the Triangle, those micro influencers are getting paid sometimes $2,000 for one post.
Yeah.
So it's a whole world, and they're invaluable to these new restaurants opening, in terms of introducing a brand to an entire community. Um,
That's amazing. And you mentioned earlier, honey. I I can Jeff, Mr. Beast. Can I call him honey? Can I do that?
It's fine with me. Just don't call me honey.
I will not call you honey. You mentioned earlier, no different than a local media list, right?
mhm.
You earlier that some of those people might be one and the same.
Yes.
A local,
You just don't know.
local, right?
Yep.
So
I think another thing off of that is different than a segment on the news. Content is evergreen. So it's not like if you didn't see it on the news, you missed it. With content, it can come back through your algorithm a month later. It is evergreen. It's constantly getting new views, new comments, new interactions. So that brand, that coffee shop is getting way more interaction and views than a news segment would, if you will. So
right.
Well, and that's what I was kind of saying.
Influencers. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to like kind of echo her of that's what I was saying of, when we're working on reporting for a client, when we are reporting on a broadcast segment, we really, really emphasize to them the value of when that content gets maximized. So we're in a digital world. We don't want it to just air on broadcast. We know how that has been shifting and moving in recent years. So we want to see it go online, and we want to see the news station also posted on their social media, which then the brands can repost on their social media and maximize it even further. So it keeps the content alive, like Caroline was saying.
100%.
I was thinking about this. You're talking about the positive impact, the credibility of these influencers. I think some of these influencers have poisoned my impression of certain brands. If you think about the old rumor about the finger being found in
Yes.
Wendy's chili,
Yes.
or the two women taking a bath in a sink at a Kentucky Fried Chicken, or I mean, Food Lion in the East, that they were taking lunch meats that had passed their expiration and soaking them in bleach so they could sell them beyond the expiration date. You're gonna have all those things that are, and it turns out the finger and the chili, that wasn't true. But now when I go to Wendy's and I think about ordering the chili, I say, can I get it without the finger?
Yeah.
Or is that an extra
Well,
charge to get the finger?
it's so interesting you bring that up because we're talking about that all the time. That's actually online reputation management is one of the our top services right now. And it's not surprising of kind of when you look at what's going on in the world and all the trust conversations that I had just brought up earlier. We do a lot of that, and we coach our clients through what is the process when and the constant monitoring of your social platforms, of your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews. How are you interacting with them? How are you taking those conversations offline, trying to rebuild the trust? And that constant monitoring of their platforms is crisis communications. It is reputation management and protecting of the reputation, because when one thing goes viral, it like you said, Jeff, can change somebody's perception of a brand forever, possibly.
Mhm.
And so I think that is just, and the last thing I'll say about that is the reason why we're talking about it so much right now. And I'm actually going to a conference next month with the Institute of Crisis Management to get certified in this, is because
Wow.
it is really being impacted by AI.
Oh,
And when you Google something, I'm sure you'll see Gemini AI summary.
Mhm.
And that is actually that is being pulled, that information is being pulled from the internet everywhere. So if you were to Google, Wendy's chili, Jeff, AI Gemini might give you something about that incident, right? And
Right.
so the
Right.
more that we can minimize those conversations happening online, catch them early, take
Yeah.
conversations offline,
yeah.
and get to the bottom of things and build that trust back with that poster and the brand, the more that we can minimize the impact of AI spreading false information. It's so interesting, and it's almost like it's all happening so fast you can barely keep up with it. So, yeah,
And
go ahead.
then you have an opportunity. Then you have an opportunity by doing that, by being that proactive, by taking the conversation offline. Now you have an opportunity for that same poster to now go back online and talk about how positive the customer service was. Oh my gosh, they went out of their way to take care of me. Look at all of this stuff they sent me, da 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 da, showing how the brand cares, therefore turning it all around and making it exponentially more
Mm.
positive.
Yeah.
It truly, it's, it's, we called it the monster of social media on the last episode.
Yeah.
It's also a magician. It's also a magician. It can also change in an instant. So that's
Yeah.
why we have to be so proactive with all of that.
You know what I'm going to say, Jeff? Turning chicken, you know what, into chicken salad, right?
Yes.
So, all right. Favorite influencers. Let's go around. Let's go around. Way to kind of cap this off. I'm assuming you're going to say, and we talked about this, Caroline, the other day, that a podcaster is an influencer too, right? They,
100%.
and by the way, I don't want to focus this on my new book, but I really don't. But I was looking up as I put together the marketing plan, and the general advice for when you put a book out now, it's all about the podcasts. What you want to
Oh, yeah.
get onto podcasts. So I was thinking about what are some of my favorite podcasts, and I'm not a huge podcast person, but I'm just very picky about where I spend the time. But I do have two, and the first is one that the two of you introduced me to, which is my favorite murder.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
Yes. No, that's actually a really
Karen
good
in
one.
Georgia, Karen in Georgia.
Our babes.
Outstanding, outstanding. And the second one for me is just because I'm such a sport nut is Bill Simmons. You guys may not, but I don't know,
Oh,
Jeff.
I do. My
Bill,
husband.
oh, because of Rob is uh, is a very proud Bostonian, huge Boston sports fan, ESPN personality, huge number of followers, has written best-selling books. He's really funny. He's very irreverent. I'm a fan of his podcast. Mr. I won't say it, Mr. Beast, Mr. Jeff. Favorite?
Yeah, I've got an unusual one for you guys. I've got an
Okay.
unusual one because this really just happened recently. And this doesn't reflect on my politics or anything else. But I got to tell you that the stuff that Gavin Newsom has been posting,
Oh,
that take aim at the Trump overnight posts is incredibly creative and incisive and effective. I saw something out there that said, everybody speculates he's going to run for president. And like a month ago, he was like sixth in the polls with a tiny little number. Now he's second. He's leapfrogged all these other people. The only person in front of him on the Democratic side is Kamala Harris. And why? I mean, these posts are hysterical
Mm.
and they're effective. And I think that's amazing, that he, or his people had the wherewithal not to try to make some sort of intellectual argument, but kind of use that same style to just show how absurd some of this stuff is. And again, don't judge my
Absolutely.
politics, but I just think it's brilliant. Brilliant.
What is the name
Yeah.
of that podcast?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, he
Got it.
posts thing out there on
Yeah,
Instagram and anything else. So
heard it's
Jeff,
very. Yeah.
You like Conan's podcast too, right?
I love them. I love them.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? Again, it's because he's irreverent. He doesn't have any demarcation between what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. He's
Mm.
just out there. And I love that sort of sense of humor, not only in comedy, but also in real life. You know, if you can bring that irreverence,
Yeah.
you're
Conan,
Mm.
number one in my book.
isn't that what it's called? Conan Needs a Friend.
Well, he's
I
got
think so.
Conan Needs a Friend. There's one where Conan travels around the world. So, but Conan Needs a Friend's a really good one.
I love it.
Needs a
Joss,
fan. It's
Joss, I'm curious about yours.
Yeah,
You
Jocelyn.
know mine.
I know yours. I already know one of them that you're gonna say because I was gonna say the same one. But I'm interested in like, I don't know if you had to give us a top three.
I'll have to think about top three. Top one is easy for me. It's Brittany Broski, exactly who
What?
Caroline mentioned earlier. She is hilarious to me. She is the influencer that doesn't feel like an influencer. And I think that's why I love her, right? Because like I am an elder Gen Z and I grew up with a phone in my hand essentially starting in middle school. And so I'm probably in that group of people, and Caroline too, where we just have a little bit of fatigue from influencers that feel salesy, that feel like it's constant ads and brand deals. I think that's where Brittany just like creates that community so well, is she's so authentically herself. She's from Texas, so there's that connection
Yep.
as well. And she doesn't lose her personality in all of it. And
Never.
I see that a lot with a lot of content creators, where the bigger they get, the more diluted their personality is, the reason why you liked them in the first place. And you look for those comfort creators at the end of the day that just make you laugh after a long day of work, or just talk about something new that you wanted to learn about. Like those are the kinds of people that I'm looking for online these days. It's less of look at me and my lavish lifestyle.
My favorite influencers, I mean, Brittany is at the top of my list. If we're thinking about the categories of influencer, right? She's my favorite macro mega influencer by far. Her podcast, The Broski Report, is arguably one of the best things to hit YouTube since it began. And that's super biased of me, I understand. But it's educational, it's competent. She's so intelligent. Um, it's so easy to see, not to think that I'm intelligent or anything, but it's almost like I can see myself in her. You know what I mean? The same thing to Jocelyn. We're in the same age range. She went to college in the South. She grew up in the South. She has the same type of humor. There's an interesting, the zillennial, if you will, Gen Z, older Gen Z. There's a really interesting microclimate that we grew up in. Everyone around this age, and it's interesting, it's just between me and Buzz, our little brother for our viewers. It's just about 97 to 2002 that it's this weird microcosm of like everybody kind of understands the same maybe pop culture references, right? So she's just one of those people that has everything all put together.
Mhm.
And I wish her nothing but the best. I want to see her continue to get her own Ellen show, if you will. You know, I just want to see her be that successful. On more of a like micro influencer, he's not micro. I think he might actually have over 1 million followers. But Hunter Kayami, I believe, Kayami, he is someone I actually got to speak on another panel with about mental health. He is one of those people that I look for personally, who maybe has a little bit more activism on his profile and kind of talking about the hard topics. And kind of just being a leader in that space, creating space for topics that maybe go a little bit under the rug on traditional social media, as it tends to kind of be a little bit more of a upbeat place, at least from my feed. And then on the micro influencer side, I would have to say Jocelyn Elmore is my favorite.
I was wondering
I
if you would
eat
say that.
and like seriously, like me not tooting her horn or anything, but like even if I wasn't your sissy, like I love your videos. It's again, here's the thing about just posting whatever's going on in your life. It encourages people who have the same type of life. Because Jocelyn posts things about the 9 to my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5. So she works a full 9 to 5, and then she shows herself closing the computer, finishing up the laundry, cleaning up the kitchen, taking the dogs out. It just feels relatable. So like, yeah, of course I want to interact with that because it is something that I can see myself doing. And again, it gets to Jocelyn's point, it gets to the point where we're fatigued with, look how beautiful and lavish my life is.
Yeah.
I just want to I want to create community, interact with people that are like me. And with the last thing I'll say is with society being so online, we've lost this idea of a third location. So we have home and we have work, right? Mm-hmm. But we've lost this idea of a third location that maybe you would find your community. And I feel like it's coming back now more after COVID, but there was a shift of we have to find our entire community online. And social media is almost our adaptation of trying to find that third space to find people that I can relate to, in my opinion. So
yeah.
Wow.
Well, thanks for the shout out.
No, it's
yeah, girl.
Well, your content is very good. So, all right, you guys are going to give advice. Last question, 30 seconds or less, or 2 or 3 sentences. Bottom line, you're giving advice to a CMO or a head of communications. How best to leverage, I suppose, the art and science of influencing. What do you tell them?
So I might suggest Jocelyn goes first and gives the professional answer, but my answer would be to say, don't be afraid to be silly. Please, for the love of God, don't be afraid. Because if you can lean into these trends and these dances or these silly, like, trends,
trending sounds,
pranks, trends, sounds, if you can play into that, your brand is
you're giving
markedly ahead of everyone else.
You're giving advice to the influencers themselves, right?
If I'm talking to the CEO, the CMO, I want you to be silly.
Oh, interesting.
I want you to be because like I said, I want to know who's running this company. Why should I care? Who are you? Are you funny? Are you silly? And then if you're playing in, I know you don't take yourself too seriously. And that's what I like to see. You're still serious about your business. Use a strategy, right? That's what your social media managers are doing. Use a strategy to point it back to your product or your service or whatever you're selling. But don't be afraid to use the trends because it doesn't need to be 100% highbrow professional at all times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's, I love that. I love that.
Authenticity.
Yeah. 100%. People are bored of seeing the same old. I would say my very short advice is know what your goals are before you start anything. Because I think what we see a lot of times, and I know Jeff and John, you understand, like a lot of people come to you asking for help of, I need marketing and PR help. What does that mean to you? What are your goals at the end of the day?
Why do you need that help?
Why? Like, do you want more followers? Do you want more sales? Do you want more brand loyalty? Because those are 3 wildly different influencer strategies. and PR strategies, whatever, however you want to, whatever services they're looking for. And so it is amazing how many times we have to go back and say, let's actually dedicate this conversation to trying to figure out what your goals are, and then we can start and make our recommendations, because otherwise you are driving with your headlights turned off, and you're not going to go anywhere good. So, and also
That's so
it's
good.
really hard to report on a campaign when you didn't set goals to begin with.
Point.
So
Good point.
I think that creates your roadmap. It tells you where you need to go, what kind of content creators you need to work with, what that campaign is going to look like, and then how to understand if it was successful at the end of the day.
I mean, I hired. You're both hired. You're both hired.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're our, I guess, our secret weapon.
I mean, maybe
They're the
not.
reason why our business model will work.
Maybe not so secret anymore. And wait,
Part of the network, baby.
and as we move toward concluding remarks here, I was going to say this anyway, but maybe to that point, Jeff, we are seeing more and more traction on this podcast in terms of the number of people we are reaching. Our numbers are fairly consistently and fairly dramatically climbing as we go. This is what, 20th podcast, whatever it is.
19th.
Thank you to everyone out there who is listening and watching. This is exactly the kind of conversation, whether they are my daughters or not, that I find personally fascinating. This has been a great conversation. I strongly suspect, Jeff, that people are going to respond to this conversation very positively. Jeff, anything you want to say to close this?
No, I think you're right, John. And I love it when we can have these conversations where I actually learn something. And I think I've learned a lot through this discussion today. And I also learned that my new podcast on modern interpretive dance will probably not do very much for me, but the absurdity.
I would watch. I
I'd
would.
watch.
Subscribe.
Yeah, no.
Y'all scare me. Y'all scare me.
Any closing comments?
Um,
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, with all of this, the reason that I'm going to this conference, the reason that podcasts like this are so important is this is changing at light speed all of the time. And it's just really important for marketing and comms people to just not think that it's always going to be the way that it has been for them. And what's worked in the past is not always going to work for you tomorrow or next month or next year. So I think just constant learning, constant conversations, just helps us all learn from each other and just get better.
100%. Caroline?
Stay on your toes. Keep trying to better yourself and better your community, and it'll all fall into place.
Yeah. And I love that both of you have counseled Jeff and I in private over the first year of our agency about the importance of authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And building trust. And you know, we have designed this podcast to be authentic. We'll have fun. How do you like my summer shirt? I mean, marketing and communication, which is serious stuff, right? This is our business. But we try to have fun with it. We try to be authentic. We are authentic. We're not afraid to be authentic.
Right.
And
You're giving people a chance to get to know you.
that's right.
I think so.
So anyway, girls, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Jeff,
Hey, thank
Terrific.
I must have done something right along the way, Jeff. Right?
you sure did.
My goodness. Jeff, do you want to do our short and sweet commercial on our social channels?
Yeah. Well, first, let me just say, like I said earlier, Jocelyn and Caroline are the personification why our business model works, because we've got these people out there in the field who we've worked with, who are experts, who've had their own records of success, but we'd still like to have a beer with them. And I think this shows you why our model's powerful and why it can be of benefit to all of you out there. So hope you got something from that. Now, with regard to our agency itself, hey, we're posting all of these podcasts to all of the major social networks. Please visit them. You can pretty much pick out any one, and you'll see Clients First Marketing and Communications represented well. So again, for me, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, all of those who are watching us, and tune in again soon. John, I'll give you the last word.
I'm not sure what I can say to add to this. If I go much further here, I'm going to tear up, and so I'm already in danger of losing it here because I'm so proud. Thank you, girls, so much, and Mr. Beast, thank you.
Thank you, John. I'm tearing up, but it's just because of what I ate last night. That's the problem.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you out there.
Love you all.
Yay for me, yay for me, yay for me, and yay for me.
Please keep that in.
Hey, that is being recorded, John. You got that in.
What?
I think so.
Yeah,
It's the new jingle. It's the new podcast.
I like it.
jingle.
I like it.
The theme of today's podcast is yay for me.
And
Okay.
yay for me too.
Yeah, this is going to be a blooper. This is going to be a blooper.
Love it.